your business? Excellent, thank you. How can it benefit your business? How can the support be tailored to your sector and your current job vacancies? And how can you take advantage of the scheme along with the incentive grant before the scheme ends at the end of the year as well? And before I begin, I'd like to thank our partners for joining us today, who will be able to provide a unique insight for you as a local employer. And I'd also like to introduce one of our dedicated Skills Hub advisors, who has become a Kickstart expert since last September, like Mike. At the Skills and Apprenticeship Hub, Mike and the team have supported over 500 employers with advice, guidance and referrals to different skills solutions over the last 12 months. Skills and Apprenticeship Hub forms part of the wider GBS-led Growth Hub, and together we offer a one-stop shop for local employers when it comes to business support. There are a number of skills solutions available with government funding attached to them right now through the Plan for Jobs initiative, and the Skills and Apprenticeship Hub can also offer support around more localised initiatives being created on the back of the feedback that we've had from employers. So in that respect, I'd encourage every one of you on this call to arrange a free consultation with Mike, Avalia, or one of our Skills Hub advisors after this webinar. However, you're here to hear about Kickstart, so without further ado, I'll now hand over to our Skills Hub advisor, Mike Wiles.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you for that excellent introduction. I'm not sure expert's quite the tag, but I'm certainly got some experience. A quick recap, because I think we need to demystify Kickstart, because I think there's been a few urban myths around it. This Kickstart initiative was announced by the government just over 12 months ago. It was finally launched towards the end of 2020. It has a number of excellent features and it has a number of goals. The first one is to provide funding to create 6-month placements for 16 to 24-year-olds who are currently receiving universal credit, and they are potentially at the risk of long-term unemployment, which we'll all appreciate is quite damaging. It's a fantastic opportunity for employers, hence our involvement, to support your business, to attract fresh talent to your business, and to provide a young person to get a great start within work, without having to go through a traditional recruitment process and obviously incur recruitment fees, etc. So Kickstart, very briefly, is a well-managed, well-supported, funded and proven process. But there is more to Kickstart as regards the support that's available. First and foremost, all companies are aware of cash flow and funding and money, so let's cover that first. It's very well funded and supported. There's £1,500 of funding available to SME organisations to cover employability and training, as well as supporting the placement, which is the Kickstart person. Examples of this could be travel costs, appropriate clothing, IT kit. Of course, this depends very much on the job role. It's a proper recruitment process as well. This is not about DWP, one of our principal partners, simply sending along someone to meet with you to discuss the role. It's definitely not a blind date. So again, working with us and working with DWP, you are allowed to place an advertisement based upon the job description that you provide, and you, as the employer, get to interview each potential candidate before commitment. So again, definitely not a blind date. It's a proper recruitment process, but there is more. Our involvement is very much about supporting you as local businesses. Our goal is very much about driving and advancing business opportunities and obviously employment opportunities for relative youngsters coming into the job market. So we have considerable experience across the team. I'm only part of a very good team within the Kickstart process. We also obviously cover off other areas, which I will cover in a little bit more detail. It's very much about covering all sectors and all job roles. We provide a free of charge and effective advice and guidance process to you, the employer. We support you, the employer, with the application documents, and we can be very hands-on because, again, we've got considerable experience if you're looking for good, straightforward, honest and free advice. So again, we can be very hands-on if you require that level of service. We work with a range of partners, some of who obviously joined us here today. Now, we often have questions that come up from employers. These are, again, they vary depending on the employer, but these are the areas where principally most commonly come up. First, can I keep my placement for more than 6 months? Yes, please. There is a process where you can obviously retain the talent and skills you've recently attracted. This could, of course, be moving the person onto a more established full-time or part-time role. It could, of course, be progressing them onto a potential apprenticeship. And again, this is one of the areas where we can offer you a lot of advice, a lot of expertise regarding the next appropriate step. Does the employer reserve the right to terminate a placement if for any reason it doesn't work out? Of course you do. There's a very well managed process. So again, once you've interviewed, taken the person on board, if for any reason it's just not working out, yes, there is a process where, again, if needed, if appropriate, you can release the person back. It could be that a young person has already approached your business and you feel there will be an ideal candidate. Yes, it's possible to put your own candidates forward, bearing in mind they have to be eligible, which is 16 to 24, and of course receiving universal credit. And again, this is an association you would need regarding obviously connections with DWP. And finally, we do have employers surprisingly ask this question quite often. The actual funding is to support the person for 25 hours per week based on the minimum wage for the respective age group. But many employers actually want to pay more, and we would encourage that. Yes, it's perfectly possible for you to top up the wages if that's something that you wish to do. And obviously that can be quite advantageous if you're looking to attract potentially better, more able candidates who understandably are attracted to a better package. We touched on very briefly other skills solutions. The Skills Hub is very focused on a range of different training outcomes. I mentioned apprenticeships very, very briefly. It's perfectly possible for a Kickstart person to join your organisation through the Kickstart process. If they prove to be successful, if you wish to keep them on, we would love to talk to you regarding other outcomes. And again, very briefly, this could include an apprenticeship, which is a perfect step forward. There are other programs such as industry placements, again, focus on various sectors. And of course, there are other programs which, again, we would love the opportunity to discuss with you. If for any reason Kickstart isn't appropriate at this point, there are other programs such as the traineeship, which again could give you an opportunity to get new talent into your organisation through a different model. We'd like to describe this as really the journey to competency. Kickstart, as you can see by this, is very much an introduction to people coming into the workforce. An apprenticeship, which is normally longer, 12 months to 24 months, depending on the level. There are obviously, again, huge incentives at the moment. So again, if Kickstart isn't quite what you're looking for, we would love to talk to you about apprenticeships instead. The traineeship, which again, I've touched on, and again, industry placements. It's very much about attracting the right kind of talent to your organisation and then supporting them as they develop their career. And of course, that has huge benefits for your organisation. We can't do all of this without the active support and engagement of some of our partners. We are the local enterprise partnership. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Sophie. Sophie works for Birmingham City Council. She heads up the Kickstart initiative team. Birmingham City Council work as an intermediate, providing huge support for the Kickstart placement. But at this point, I think it's appropriate for me to hand over to Sophie.
Brilliant, thanks, Mike. I think you've covered quite a lot of it anyway. But yeah, I'll just fill in on where Birmingham City Council is and what our gateway offers. So yes, Mike's right. We are here to support any business that's looking to join us as a gateway. We are working very closely with Birmingham Adult Education Services to support young people that are looking to go into the Kickstart roles. As part of our offer, it's very important to us, especially as I sit within the Education and Skills Department, to support those young people into their roles. And what we've done is we've created a bunch of pre-employment courses, which will have a certain sector theme. So for example, at the moment, we've currently got Construction 1 course running. And on the run up to Christmas, which is when the funding's due to expire, we're currently looking at warehousing, hospitality, business admin, and really theming those courses so we can provide a real insight for those candidates that are interested with the sector. What those 2-week courses include are interviewing young people, supporting them with CV techniques, interview techniques, confidence building, teamwork. We're also doing, where possible, site visits. So we've got some candidates out on site today visiting one of our construction sites that has Kickstart vacancies available, just to really open their eyes to kind of what construction is and what some of the roles are, and you know, even opening their eyes to roles that they perhaps don't realise exist. For example, a dry liner, I have no idea what one of those was before I read the job description. And then obviously giving the opportunity for employers with vacancies to come in and meet those candidates that are on the course, to come and talk about the role, the kind of person they're looking for, and you know, really get to meet those candidates and make sure that they do find the right fit for the role. If you know, for whatever reason those dates didn't work for yourselves, we can also work with the job centres to invite you guys in and get candidates in front of you again to talk about the role and really meet those candidates that are interested. Alongside, once the young person is in place, as Mike mentions, that the recruitment process does sit with yourselves. We would obviously hate to employ somebody that wasn't the right fit for your business. We want you to get a real feel for those candidates and interview them yourselves. That being said, I really am your middleman between the job centre and the business. So if, for example, you want to, you know, you've had millions of applications for your fantastic job and you wanted to shut the vacancy early, I can do that for you. Again, if you wanted to extend it and just allow a few more people to apply, I can arrange that with the job centre, my colleagues at the job centre for you. Not a problem at all. And then, as it mentions on the slide here, once that young person is in place, they are regularly contacted by myself, the YPP team, and we do also sign them up to route to work learning hours. So they are continuously learning and developing whilst they're with yourselves. With the roles being 25 hours, we do, what we're kind of saying here at Birmingham City Council is that we would like to condense those kind of hours into shorter 4 days, perhaps allowing that candidate to have a Friday off to do some training with Birmingham Adult Education. They have a lot of courses that run free of charge on Fridays that we would like to put candidates onto, again, to aid them with their learning and support them, whether they stick with yourselves after the 6 months or move on somewhere else. So in terms of cost to yourselves, the government obviously does pay the wages, national minimum wage up to 25 hours. As Mike mentioned earlier, if you would like to top that up, that's fantastic. Here at Birmingham City Council, we are hosting our own placements as well as working with external businesses, and we're paying the real living wage. It has probably, I don't want to say it's maybe attracted a few more people, having that slightly higher pay per hour, but it has. But it's completely up to you guys what you'd want to do. And then also you do receive a per placement, you get £1,500 grants. By joining our gateway, we would ask for £650 of that, and that is to provide all of the support that myself and Michael and the Birmingham Adult Education team offer, leaving yourselves with £850 per placement for IT equipment, training, or other costs that really support that young person in their role with yourselves. And I'll stop talking and I will hand over, I believe, to Anne.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. So I'm Anne Gemmell, and I work for DWP. So I think Sophie and Michael have mentioned DWP a little bit in their spiel. So I'm just going to cover again how the scheme works. So some of this actually has already been covered. So it was launched last year. It was launched in July last year as part of the getting people back into work, particularly young people. We had huge volumes of young people who were suddenly claiming universal credit because they'd lost their job through the pandemic, or it might be that they were coming out of university and the jobs that they would have applied for just weren't there, so they had to make a claim for universal credit. So the registers, the numbers of young people who suddenly found themselves without work, without an opportunity, without something to go into when they left university, weren't there, and therefore Kickstart was born. So as Michael and Sophie have both said, it's to create new jobs for 16 to 24-year-olds, but importantly, it's those that are on universal credit and are at risk of long-term unemployment. So I guess what we're looking at, that young people who are likely to get a job without that additional support, or probably Kickstart might not be for them. We are looking at those who perhaps need that little bit of work experience, although some of our graduates have started Kickstart and are doing very, very well on Kickstart. So employers of all sizes can apply for funding. I think we've talked about this. It covers 100% of the national minimum wage, or the national minimum wage, depending on the age of the participant, of 25 hours per week. We also pay the associated employer insurance contributions and the minimum automatic enrolment pension contribution. It's already been mentioned, if you want to pay a higher wage, that is absolutely great. Or if you want to pay, if you want that young person to work in your business for more hours and you want to pay for that, that's absolutely great. But just to be clear, the funding, the grant will only cover for 25 hours per week at national minimum wage. You can spread your job starts up until the scheme ends. So currently, the scheme ends on the 31st of December this year, so 2021. We have no indication that the scheme is actually going to be extended. So young people at the moment, that's our deadline that we're working to, and a young person can start a job right up until the 31st of December, and therefore you will get funding until the 30th of June 2022. Although the scheme actually completes on the 31st of December, we won't obviously be accepting applications up to that date. Obviously, there's going to be a cut-off date at some point before that to enable us to process applications, give us time to upload the jobs onto our systems, and indeed young people to apply for those vacancies. So I guess anybody out there who is interested in Kickstart and creating a Kickstart opportunity just needs to be mindful. We're sort of in September now, and unless this scheme is extended, and I said there's absolutely no indication at the moment that it is going to be extended, there will be a cut-off point sometime in the autumn where we'll be stopping applications, but I have no idea when that will be at the moment. We've talked about the £1,500 funding and how that's used to support the young people to develop their employability skills. We've talked a little bit about the support that's available from Gateway. Sophie and Michael have talked about the support that is available from both their organisations. You can apply for a Kickstart, for the Kickstart scheme, either by yourself, so you can apply individually as an employer, online yourself, or indeed you can apply through a Gateway. And that's what Michael and Sophie have just been talking about. So we will have various organisations who we have a signed agreement with as a Kickstart Gateway, and they will support you with your application. So they'll act as an intermediary and apply for the funding on your behalf. They may indeed provide some employability support to you, and Sophie's just been talking about the employability support that Birmingham City Council can provide. So those are your options of how to apply. Everything is on gov.uk. As I said, the jobs must be new jobs. They mustn't replace existing or planned vacancies. They mustn't cause existing employees, apprentices or contractors to lose work or reduce their working hours. And we've talked about they've got to have that wraparound support to help the young person become more employable. And I think that's what Sophie was just talking about, how their Gateway, Birmingham City Council Gateway, how they do that, how they provide that wraparound support. So we've mentioned that they're only available for young people who are in receipt of universal credit. So how do young people access the opportunities? All referrals have to be made through the young person's work coach. So the young person will have a chat, or the work coach will have a chat with the young person. They will have a look at the opportunities that are available, and they will make the referral in conjunction with the young person to that opportunity. You as an employer will get the referral through. It will say, this individual has been referred to your opportunity. That young person then has to go away to make that application. We do work with lots of partners who will support young people with that application. And indeed, we are doing a lot in the job centres. Sophie's already mentioned that, where we're actually inviting employers, partners, gateways into our job centre to actually engage with those young people to help them with that application. So we can make that referral in the job centre to that opportunity, and that young person can be supported if they need to be supported with that application. There's lots of information on Kickstart, including lots of YouTube videos on gov.uk, lots of young people on there talking about the opportunities that they've taken part in, what's happening with them, what it's done for them. We have a fantastic library of good news stories, where young people have been able to access opportunities that they never thought they would be able to access. You know, employers have stepped up and provided some absolutely fantastic opportunities for young people, and this is helping us move our young people into sustainable work. And as Michael has said, it is a great platform if you want to use it as a starting point to then lead into an apprenticeship, and some employers are actually doing that and doing it very well. I think I probably want to end there. I've probably said enough. I will hang around, so if there's any more questions at the end, I'm happy to pick those questions up at the end. Dan, I don't know who I'm, or Michael, I don't know who I'm handing on to.
I think it's me, because first and foremost, can I thank you and Sophie for a very comprehensive and useful overview. The headline today was very much about adding value to the process, a little bit more about the LEP and our role within it. We are very much about supporting organisations and obviously the individuals within those organisations for all sorts of upskilling and skilling opportunities. Very briefly, we ask in organisations that we engage with to carry out a training need analysis. It's very much a case of what is your business, what do you do, where do you wish to go, what are the skills barriers, and how can we help and support and guide you to overcome those barriers. Kickstart's a fantastic opportunity. Again, sharing some news with you. We firmly believe that Kickstart is a fantastic opportunity, and I'm delighted to advise that our very first Kickstart placements will be beginning over their roles within our organisation on Monday, including one joining the skills team. So this is very much about the fact that we really do believe in this. We work across a whole range of different providers, training providers, and again, we broker out solutions to them. You may be aware that there is a scheme called the Skills Support Workforce. It's very much about what we might term bite-sized courses. The great and exciting news is this is now open to both Kickstart placements and your current members of staff. So again, if you're looking to revamp, improve, boost the skills of your current workforce, as well as potential Kickstarts, then this is, again, fantastic opportunity. And the best of it is it's fully funded. So why wouldn't you? At this point, I think I'd like to hand you over to an expert, a lady called Laura, who's from Serco, one of our partners. Laura, over to you.
Thanks, Michael. Can you hear me okay as I'm dialing in via the phone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Johnson, Partnership Coordinator for Skills Support for the Workforce, which is a contract run by Serco. This is fully funded courses that we offer support on, which is on behalf of the European Social Fund and the Education Skills Funding Agency. I can't really see the slides anymore, Michael. So have you got our video to play, and then I can put a bit of context after you've played that short video?
Yeah, I think Dan's dealing with the techie bit.
Laura, I know you can't see it, but I'm just going to press play on the video now.
Thank you.
Right, perfect.
The Skills Support for the Workforce programme helps support small and medium businesses to upskill their employees with training courses and qualifications to help their business grow. Working in collaboration with the local enterprise partnerships to help support growth in key sectors, Serco have a network of training providers who can deliver hundreds of fully funded and accredited training courses to suit your business needs. The Skills Support for the Workforce programme is co-financed by the Education Skills Funding Agency and the European Social Fund. Our training providers can help support your employees to progress within your organisation onto higher level qualifications or apprenticeships. We can support you with qualifications in IT, leadership and management, engineering, manufacturing, construction, health and social care, customer service, business administration and many more. If you want to improve your business performance, diversify your products, enter new markets, improve profitability, or simply invest in your employees' personal development, then why not contact your local partnership coordinator or visit our website to discover what courses are on offer through the Skills Support for the Workforce programme.
I think we've reached the final slide. Very briefly, Dominic is the local partner coordinator for the SSW and the SSR. The SSR program, very briefly, is dealing with people who are at threat of redundancy or have recently been made redundant. And of course, we do appreciate there are some of these individuals out there. So again, if you're an employer who's unfortunately had to let somebody go recently, and you feel this could be an opportunity, then again, obviously, please do reach out to Dominic, who'll obviously wish to explain how Serco and their partners could potentially help. I think at this stage, we've covered off quite a huge range of the opportunities. The Skills Support Programme for Redundancies, SSR and SSW are co-financed. It covers all of the LEP regions. The focus is to provide recognised qualifications, enhance the employer's skills, increase the competitiveness of your business, and obviously boost the local economy. And again, very much something that we tie into. We regularly refer across our employers to SSW programs. And again, this is something that you can do as a standalone, if it's not something that you wish to tie into a Kickstart opportunity or as a Kickstart opportunity. And again, moving slightly off the agenda of the slide, I'd also say that our skills team are also aware of other opportunities if perhaps, again, SSW and Kickstart are not quite what you're looking for at the moment. The programme itself, SSW, runs all the way until March 2023, unless the funding runs out. But again, fantastic opportunity. And again, something that we would like to discuss with you to build into a complete training need analysis.
Thanks, Mike. That was quite a comprehensive overview there.
Thank you.
I do appreciate that. I'd just like to add that the programme itself can support anybody who's 16 years of age with a contract of employment. And that does include anybody.
Redundancies to access fully funded training courses to help them gain skills and qualifications to get back into the workplace.
Oh, hi. I think there was a technical talk over there. But
there was a little bit of a glitch out, wasn't there? Apologies for that.
Not to worry, but yeah, just to point out that it can be for anybody of 16 years of age, right the way up to 100 and whichever, doesn't matter, as long as you've got a contract to employment or you're on something like the Kickstart scheme. It doesn't matter what hours you work, whether it's part-time, 0 hours, whether you're self-employed, whether you're a contractor. We can support the majority of anybody who can prove employment. We can fully fund courses at level 1 and level 2, and we can part fund up to 140 guided learning hours of a level 3. So just to put that in context for any employer on here who's wishing to upskill anybody, we could actually fully fund a Institute of Learning Management level 3 course, or a Train the Trainer award in education and training, or anything to the effect that has got 14 credits or below. So we've got thousands of courses which we can support on. And if you do contact Dominic, he is your local representative. Unfortunately, he's on annual leave today, so I'm stepping in. But if you are in the GBS LEP area, please do contact Dominic, and he can share with you the training matrix, which goes through the plethora of support which can be offered through the training programme and the matrix that we have. And it covers all the main labour market sectors, as mentioned in the video, and can support anybody who's looking to go, you know, whether it's up the ladder to, team leading management, or whether it's just customer service, or whether it's everything from your engineering and transport and logistics. We've got a huge emphasis at the moment in those two sectors of support. There's lots and lots of courses we can support in, and also health and social care and hospitality. So I'm going to stay around at the end if anybody has any questions within any specific sector training thought, but I'll leave it there for now. Thanks, Michael.
Welcome. I think, again, we've had a very good comprehensive overview of what's available through the SSW programme. And really, I think it's a case of there is a wealth of opportunities for employers that are in a position to go forward. There are many opportunities to attract new talent through programs such as the Kickstart initiative and of course apprenticeships, which again is a major provider of additional skills. And of course, apprenticeships can also be introduced for existing members of staff. So typically you may have someone in a role at a level 2, moving into more of a supervisory role, such as level 3, which again, Laura has touched on, is very much about an introduction to management. And again, an apprenticeship in level 3, management, team leader, etc., could be an ideal opportunity for someone as your business is developing, you're moving someone up the management chain. Moving onwards, there are also connections with, obviously, again, additional partners through the universities. And again, there are other programs available, which again, the LEP would welcome the opportunity to discuss. And again, we're very focused and very led by our employers. So at this point, I think we're moving probably to the point where we open the floor up to any queries, any questions that you may have. Appreciate a lot of information to be delivered in a relatively short time, so you may well have any queries or questions. So we have a panel of experts here that can probably deal with all aspects of the program. So if I can perhaps open the floor to anyone who may have a question.
So is it okay? Yeah. So we're a startup and we're trying to. We haven't actually got any premises at the moment. So we're trying to find a hot desk situation in Birmingham, hopefully. But we have been guided that Kickstart might be really great for us with somebody who's just come out of university if they're looking, if they can't find any work. Because we've done some work with some graduates or just postgraduates anyway with Aston University. And my question is really, if we haven't got a base, even if we can connect with them, can we still participate with the Kickstart scheme?
Can I answer that? Yes, it's perfectly possible if the role is deliverable remotely. Yes. Again, this is on the back, obviously, of the COVID situation we've recently gone through. An application, which again, we can advise and guide you on. Sharon would be very much focused on how you are going to motivate, manage, and all of you process that person, because again, we wouldn't want a situation where the person's very remote, but I'm sure that's not what you're looking for. Sharon, if perhaps we can get together after this, certainly something we'd love to explore with you.
Yes, okay, that's fine, Mike. I have connected on LinkedIn with you, so yeah,
I'll get you through that. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay.
And just to add to that as well, something you mentioned about graduates.
Yes.
Latest figures that we had at the start of the summer as well is that there is 1,000 recent graduates that are claiming universal credit at the moment and that are eligible for Kickstart. Mike mentioned that we've had 12 vacancies in the LEP as well, and we've written some of the job descriptions towards those graduates. We're looking to fill some of the positions with grads as well. It's definitely possible. Yeah. We know there are local universities. I
was just going to say, do those jobs go on with the local universities as well? Because we had obviously some voluntary work with some postgrads, but then they were only with us a short period of time, and so they then had to, they've got other jobs, obviously. So we just realised that there's some fantastic skills and talent out there, and they just want, help it grow our business and enhance their CV actually for the future. So. Yeah. Does it go on? Does it? Where is it advertised? Does it go on the university sites as well, or is it just within like the job?
Yeah, so
the job boards. Or
Anne might be able to help me here. So in terms of where it's advertised by the job coaches, which each individual claiming universal credit will have a jobs coach. We are noticing that more employers and gateway organisations are promoting their own vacancies as well online, but. Okay. And I'm sure it's still the case that an applicant has to apply through their job coach now.
Okay.
Yeah, Sharon. All referrals have to be made through their work coach. So to access Kickstart, somebody has to be in receipt of universal credit.
Okay.
The opportunities are starting to appear on Find a Job. We also have there's also a platform that's managed by Youth Employability UK, and we actually send them our raw data every day. And so that's listed all the jobs that are listed on there. What it won't give is a full job description on there, because it's just basically our raw data, so that wouldn't give them. But it would enable somebody to see a job title and then go and have a chat to their work coach about it.
Okay.
But as I said, they're starting to appear on Find a Job as well. We do have a pool of graduates, so we have some work coaches that are specialists that actually just work with graduates. It's something called Graduate Retune, and we work with a couple of the local universities. So all our opportunities will be visible, obviously, to those work coaches, because those work coaches will have access to the UC bills. So they'll all be, So if they are a graduate and on universal credit, they are entitled, obviously, to have a chat with their work coach and access any of the opportunities that are on there.
That's brilliant. Okay, that I think will, will be something that we can, kind of work with. That'd be great.
That's really good. Do we have any more questions?
It looks like you've got one question in the chat box, Mike, about advice on training and support.
Sorry, Ellie, you just dropped out on me. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can. I'm sorry. I only got the very start and the very end.
No worries. So there's a question in the chat box. Somebody's asked, are the Skills Hub able to advise on the type and level of training and support that a business should be offering to a young person through this scheme?
Yes, I think we can. We've worked with many employers now, and one of the opportunities we have, exploring the opportunity with an employer, is very much understanding their business requirements and needs. So again, yes, we can guide employers quite effectively. We have to be mindful that obviously if an employer is asking for an incredibly advanced role that perhaps they should be paying out a huge amount of money, then they're not necessarily going to attract that level of candidate. On the other hand, there is access to some fantastic talent. So again, if perhaps the person on the chat wants to reach out to me, I would welcome the conversation, and we can discuss together how we can be of most effective use for that organisation.
Can I ask another question? Do you advise, or will you advise on any monetary top-up that we, obviously that maybe draw particular candidates in? Obviously, we're a startup and we're pre-revenue, so we're not in a great position, but the business is moving forward, but financially we're not even taking anything ourselves. But obviously, to attract the correct candidate, it'd be nice to, do you advise on that, on the route to take with that, with the monetary side?
I think it's difficult for us to advise a model. I think it's probably a conversation that we can have separately, Sharon, so we can explore that and look at some examples online and to give you some feedback across the entire team, as opposed to me giving you a straightforward answer.
Okay, that's wonderful. No problem. Thank you.
I think between us, ladies and Dan, we've done such a fantastic job. We've answered everybody's queries and questions before they even arose. Obviously, moving to the end of the presentation, on behalf of the skills team and obviously the LEP, may I thank our contributors. Obviously, a fantastic opportunity. But most of all, thank you, employers, for giving us some of your valuable time, so we can obviously explain our role, and hopefully we can be of support. If there are any queries or questions that perhaps ping later today that you've not had the opportunity to digest and think, then again, please do reach out to us. You can obviously find us at GB LEP LEP Skills Hub. Equally, as Sharon just explained, I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. You can definitely find me there. Moving on to our final slide, obviously we've got the address for Dan, who obviously leads the team, and myself. And again, we would welcome the opportunity to explore further. Dan, would you like to close the meeting?
Excellent. Yeah, just want to reiterate what you've said, Matt. Thank you for today, Mike. Thank you for all the guest speakers, and thank you for the employers that have joined us today. Hope you've gained some valuable information from it. Just wanted to reiterate also what Anne said in terms of the scheme is coming to an end at the end of December, and they are stopping taking applications sometime in the autumn. So if you are interested, please get in touch with us.
Please.
The email address is in the chat bar, and we could drop everyone an email after this recording as well. So thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.